Welcome to the inner workings of the not so genius mind. I'm Amanda McCombs, and look, I even wrote my slash.
Ooh, look at you,
Today,
professional. Mrs. Daybreak.
that's me. I'm the not so genius, and I have a friend with me today. Actually, I didn't talk about how I wanted to introduce you. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm happy to. Hi, everyone. I'm Kim Chatto. I am Miss Willard Bay. I met Amanda through the amazing pageant series here in Utah. And so she's going for like the Mrs. contestant. I'm going for the Miss.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm super excited to be here. Do you want me to dive into my background or?
So I know, well, yeah, because you're new to Utah.
Mhm.
I would love to hear more because my platform is all about take care of yourself. So I want to
Yeah,
hear more about your platform
yeah,
and then we'll just go from there. It's
sure.
really is just a conversation, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do
So I've lived in Utah for a year now. I moved here Christmas Eve of 2023.
oh,
I served in the Air Force active duty for over 11 years and then separated and came to Utah. I have no ties here, not from here, don't have family here or anything. I came here for the Sentinel nuclear weapon project at a Hill Air Force Base. I know, right?
what?
So, yeah, actually, when I was active duty, the first almost 4 years of my career, I was a nuclear combat crew commander. So I worked with intercontinental ballistic missiles. Like when you see the Hollywood movies where like the big red button, it's not a big red button, it's turning keys, but that was me. And yep, exactly.
No. What, like Mission Impossible style? That's
Yup.
so cool. You're badass. Keep going.
I don't know about that, but it's definitely a really important mission. And
Yeah.
so that's what started my Air Force career. And then I actually cross-trained into public affairs. And usually you are in different mission sets. I worked for Air Mobility Command. So if you're not familiar with the Air Force, those are the big gray planes. They take equipment, people, things all around the world. We also do refueling. So that's what started off. I loved it. But ultimately, I transitioned from that into, I kind of became a little niched a bit. And I was in special operations. So I was a special operations public affairs officer for most of like the rest of my Air Force career. Um, so that is for Air Force, that's like Air Force Special Tactics, Special Operations Aircraft, super fun. And then, but my favorite assignment was I spent 2 years in South Korea and I worked in a joint military assignment with Special Operations. So, joint being you work with all the different service branches. And so I worked with Navy SEALs, Green Berets, Air Force Special Tactics, MARSOC, um, Air Force, or not Air Force, Army PSYOPs, like everybody. It was fun. It was really, really fun.
So, okay. I'm trying to figure this out because you moved here a year ago.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Now it all makes sense. Because I was like, why did you come here? And then you already said it because it's a
Yes.
silent mission.
Yes, I'm now a
Oh,
defense
cool. But
contractor. Yeah, yeah, out
you're
at Hill.
okay. Wow. Okay, you just kind of broke my brain a little bit.
I'm sorry. Yeah, though there's a
I knew you did like really cool stuff, but I didn't realize it was like really cool stuff. My jaw was just like, the whole time you were talking. That's incredible. Wow. Okay. So do you feel like there's a lot of pressure?
to like on myself right now or from
Yeah.
where? It depends. I think I am originally there's more backstory here. I'm originally from the Philippines and so my mom immigrated here. I technically believe I was like a naturalized citizen. My dad was an American citizen.
Mhm.
Um But I grew up with just a lot of, Asian, um, Asian influences, so, like, some of those stereotypes are rooted in some truth there, so, like, tiger mom aspects, high expectations, um, and if you've ever been a child of an immigrant, um, there's a different level of pressure there to succeed
Yeah.
and exceed all standards, and I think I kinda did that, I
Really?
mean yeah, I mean, I was definitely, like, growing up, I was, like, a straight A student and an advanced placement, honors classes. I was the first I come from a big military family, predominantly Navy. but I was the first woman service member and I was the first officer.
Wow,
So just doing a lot of stuff with that.
that's so cool.
And I think any pressure that I feel now is more on myself because I am a mom. I'm a single mom. I'm in my 30s. I'm a defense contractor. So I would say any pressure
Oh.
that I feel now is just it's solely a kid, like I'm my own problem.
Hey, at least you can admit it. Um, so and then my platform is take care of yourself, which like sounds really, really simple. So I have to ask, what is something you've done recently? Because you that's a lot of stress from a lot of different sources in your life. Like
Sure.
I was a single mom. My husband and I didn't get married until my daughter was like 8, I think.
Wow. Okay.
And so, like, I totally get dating as a single mom is awful, and you wanna give the best to your kids and make the most of the time that you have when you're with them, right?
Yes.
You wanna also be able to do really cool and incredible things and have your own life.
Hmm.
So, we take a pause. What have you done to take care of yourself? What have you done for you?
I think the ways that I've chosen to take care of myself, it's multifaceted. And on one aspect, community is huge with me. That's
Mhm.
actually how I found out about the pageant is that I'm in a small group in Bible study with Kaylin Lippert and Abby McGee. That's Mrs. Wasatch Front and Mrs. Rocky Mountain in the pageant. And community has just been so incredibly important. It's something you pick up on when you're in the military too. 'Cause you're moving so much, you find out your ways and things that helps you transition into this new location and a new assignment.
Yeah,
And so my community is super big. I would say I'm pretty extroverted. And so having those opportunities to fill my cup with people who can pour into me, so, so important. So there's that aspect of it. Whenever I have time with my kids, I have taken so much pressure off myself in terms of what that is supposed to look like. I
yeah.
used to think like I have to do all the things. Like there was one point I flew back from South Korea to they're in New Mexico, but like Texas area. And I
Mm,
was like, okay, we're gonna hit up Amarillo, Lubbock. We're gonna do this. They have all these Christmas
all the things.
festivals and things, and we're gonna do everything, and which was fun. It was kind of like a we're gonna do all the things. No is not the word kind of thing. And there's a time and a place for that. But then after that experience, I think one of the things that just really sat with me is that my kids just wanted to spend time with me. They just wanted quality time. I mean, if we went to like a Build-A-Bear or did something like, sure, that's fun, but that's extraneous. And it took so much pressure off of myself. And I would say that that was big for me is just being like they just want your presence and they want to create memories that are genuine intentional. They want their parent to be there for them.
Yeah, they
And
want
so,
present.
yeah, so community, being intentional with my time with my kids, and then, um, this is this is really specific to my circumstances, but being a single parent and being a single woman in my 30s, I've actually decided this year, and I share this so I can be held accountable to it.
Hey,
I'm not on any dating apps this year. I might go on a date if somebody asks me out, but um I will say when I moved to Utah last year, I had, hope and sparkles in my eyes that something amazing was going to happen here. And amazing things did happen, but not with dating. And
yeah.
and I think that I just recognized by the end of the year that all of these different interactions and nuanced discussions and dynamics and a lot of unhealthy behaviors from people just encouraged me that I'm like, "Hey, I don't need to put that kind of pressure on myself. I don't need to." I went on so many first dates, Amanda, and it was fruit there was nothing. There's no fruit from that.
No,
Um,
I've been there.
and yeah, yeah.
Online
And
dating is scary too.
yeah, and I think too that we could go on a whole tangent about this. I think
Oh,
men
yeah.
have so much feedback and critiques for women based on that. And for me, it's just like, "Hey, you're under a different lens than women are." Like, I am unsure if this stranger that I'm meeting could harm me or what baggage he brings or if he's a violent person. Like those are like the scary aspects of it and the less intense but also equally detrimental things. I'm just like, "Hey, like have you worked on yourself? Are you manipulative? Are you
What the heck?
emotionally available? Are you like there's all these different things too, and then just the communication styles and part of my platform is focusing on the importance of community and connection because I think we're all starving for connection, but
Yeah.
people are going about it all the wrong ways and letting this
Yes.
idea of loneliness fuel a lot of unhealthy behaviors, unfortunately.
Yes. I agree 100%. And
Yeah,
when
so those
people
3.
when people show up kind of on social media, it's fake. They're
Mhm.
craving attention. It's like a popularity contest. I really hope we can change that because that's not what it should be.
I
Like,
I think that social media, because that was my when I was public affairs for the Air Force and kind of what I do now for strategic communication aspects. Like what you're seeing is a highlight reel. Everybody wants to show their best self because, if it's on the internet, it's on there forever. And so you want to show like your best self. And then if you use social media at all for like your income or your career prospects, then you're like, well, how can I strategically use this narrative to my advantage? What
mhm,
kind of story or persona do I have online versus in person? All
yeah,
these different things. And so, I mean, there's unique aspects of that are just exhausting.
yeah. I'd rather we be real and be authentic and like I applaud you for not being on any dating apps. Because I met my husband on a dating app,
Yeah.
but, like, we've been married it'll be 10 years this
Yay.
year that we've been married. Yay!
That's amazing.
But,
I
like, before that, it was really scary. I went on a lot of wonderful dates. I've been ghosted. I have had guys, like, string me along and then, like, disappear. Like, it's I've had
it's
stalkers.
oh yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
It can be very discouraging. And I'm not against dating apps. I think for me, I could recognize that by the end of 2024, when you have these little nuanced things happening to you, whether it's being ghosted, I got stood up for the first time. That is
oh,
my confident self was humbled. Um, I actually we he and I actually had a
darn.
were able to have a conversation in terms of like what happened there.
Oh,
But I still technically count it because I had tickets to a Utah hockey club game and I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, I could have literally brought anybody else with me, my guy.
oh, that's not cool.
And yeah, so that was not the best.
No.
But but I think by the end of the year, one of the things that I just realized is that all these specific things that happen from getting, same thing that you described. If you're getting, strung along, getting ghosted, getting stood up, having really unhealthy conversations, feeling less than, it felt like 1,000 tiny cuts. And by the end of the year, you're like bleeding out because you don't think at the moment, like, oh, this isn't that big of a deal. That's okay.
It
You'll
is
get over
okay,
it. Do this.
though.
And so then I was just like, I absolutely believe that you can find your person through a dating app. I just know for me, that is not what I'm going to do this year. I'm like, I just did not find it fruitful for me. And
We crave
um,
authentic connection,
yeah,
and that isn't happening,
yeah.
right?
So if you're a single dude out there who wants to go on a date with me, you're gonna have to slide into my DMs and make yourself known because I'm
You're
not
gonna
out
have to
there.
figure it out. Well, and man, I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm
Heck,
proud of
I'm
me
proud
too.
of you. Man, well, and I, like, I had so much stress in my life, I quit my job. 'Cause I didn't have time to go to doctor's appointments or anything, and I was
Yeah.
getting so s like, I will get so sick sometimes, not anymore. I was missing enough work that, like, I had to have my pay docked, right?
Hmm.
But now, like, I can be more present with my kids,
Yeah.
and I can be there when they need me,
I
and
love that.
they get excited when I pick them up from school, and it's not like, "Oh, mom's at the school program," because I'm, like, running the show, right? I can just be there.
Hmm.
Just be mom, and I've never been able to do that because 'cause I've been working and working and working and working and working. Like, I've never not worked.
Yes. I bet that's incredibly fulfilling to have that kind of immediate feedback of like, "Hey, I took this stressor off me and now I can just enjoy the moment. I have so much more
Yeah.
intentionality to be in this moment, in this space, and understanding and appreciating what this is."
Well, and it has its good and bad things for sure.
Mhm.
Um, like, I am having to face some demons that I wasn't ready to face and, like,
Yeah.
figure out what being a mom even looks like.
Yeah.
Because my memories with my mom, she was just, like, depressed and in bed all the time, and she didn't wanna really invest in me.
Yeah.
Once I was, like, old enough to go play at my friend's house, I was always at my friend's house.
Mhm.
And it wasn't that she didn't love me, it was that, like, she didn't have tools and resources and whatever she needed, and my dad was traveling and working, and she was depressed.
Yeah. One of the things that I've recently reflected on is this idea that to 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 be in a position now where we can extend grace and understanding to our parents because
Mm.
that they were first time parents too. This was their first journey going through it as well, and they were learning along the way. Because I think I have so much more appreciation for, especially my mom, because she left everything she knew in the Philippines. All of her family's there. She went to a completely foreign country with like a US sailor. She was in her early 20s bringing a kid
Wow.
along. Yeah. And me, and I have the funniest stories of that too. I was a very feisty little kid, and she's just an incredible person, but I had so many critiques of that growing up and being like, "Why are you like this? Why are you doing it this
Yeah.
way?" And I like and some bitterness and probably harbored some anger from it, being like, "Why are you so critical of me?
Mm.
I'm here to razzle dazzle and like just accept that like this is what I'm doing here." And then I think it's frustrating too, because you could feel like you were the perfect kid. You were doing all the things correctly. I wasn't I don't think I got a boyfriend until after my like senior year. It was like that summer. I was like, "See, look at me. I'm waiting. I'm doing all the correct things. I'm not bringing shame to the
Checking all the
family."
boxes.
Mhm. But I
Oh,
still felt that there was like a lot of that was really hard, and I think until I became a mom, and she and I've had really amazing recent conversations. It's not perfect, but
yeah.
we've opened up to each other a lot and kind of navigated like, "Hey, when you approach life like this way or critique me this way, this is how I feel. Like I don't feel like it's helpful or productive, or like um have you considered this?" Like she came out to visit in August cuz I had like a minor surgery, and she is so amazing at like, this is gonna sound weird, like, at, like, getting stuff organized and cleaned around the house, where I'm pretty confident that I have ADHD. And I know that's, like, comes off as a self-diagnosis. However, in my defense, when I
Mm.
was active duty, I had our special operations command, like, evaluate me, and
Oh,
they're
no,
like
running
they
out of
were "Oh,
wait,
no."
hold on 1 second. Oh, pause.
Okay,
Okay, so I have, like, 10 minutes left because it's Zoom. So, we can, like, edit this part, but keep
okay,
going.
okay.
I'll tell you.
Noted, you're fine, no worries.
Okay. Sorry.
Um, no, you're okay. Um, but yeah, so I was at a special operations command and getting like evaluated for ADHD because I asked to, because I was just like, I'm pretty sure I've got some stuff. Like I'm a little neurospicy. And they're like, oh, like you actually like hyper focus more than anyone. So we don't think you do. And I was like, hold on.
That's
Is isn't that like
that's what it is, though.
that it? And so I was like, what? And so but
Mm.
then the Air Force was like, "Hey, we don't necessarily wanna test you for this because if it does come back, we don't want you to, like, limit your opportunities in the active duty."
Oh my
So
gosh.
so I probably have ADHD and I just don't know. I'm like, really confident I do.
I was
And,
recently diagnosed.
so but she came in, and the point of that though was she came in and she had all these critiques, and I think I like started to cry, and I was like, "Mom, I'm exhausted. Like I just moved to
Uh,
Utah. I bought a house. I'm doing single mom things. I'm a defense contractor. I live over here and the base is over here, and like cost of living is expensive." And I just like laid it all out. She's like, "I know." She's like, "I'm really proud of you. And I know you're handling a lot."
to hear that.
It was amazing, but I think like parents are so quick to critique without understanding that like your kids are oftentimes having like the weight of the world on their shoulders and they're doing their very best, and where we are today is not what they were doing when they were 30. Like the economy, life expectations, everything is different. So
Everything's different.
So it's a lot harder to navigate, and but yeah, that was an interesting conversation to do that with my mom.
Oh my gosh. Well, and here's a segue, if you will.
Yeah.
The last conversation I had with my mom was take care of yourself. And it was like
Mhm.
my first week back at teaching full time after I had gotten shingles through my face. And I like finally didn't need a witch's hat and sunglasses to see inside anymore with the lights off. Like
Yeah.
I could finally drive myself to work again, right?
Yeah.
And I'm in the bathtub and it's my mom's birthday and I talked to her about how the week is gone and she's telling me to take care of myself because this all happened because I had way too much stress.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and a week later she passed away.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Thanks. Well, I don't know if thank you is the right thing to say. Um, and then I signed up for the pageant, and that was when I did it last season.
Mhm.
But then the end of the school year this last year is when I lost my dad.
Wow,
And
that is really hard.
his dad actually, um, he was in the Air Force
Mhm.
when he was born,
Mhm.
and he was in the Panama Canal, 1942.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
there's all kinds of I'll have to send you, maybe if we get this up on Instagram, I can post some of the pictures, but I have some really beautiful pictures from, when my grandma and grandpa were, like, first married, and
That's amazing.
it's so cool, but I have, like, that little bit of military history. My dad didn't do any of that, but here I am doing the pageant again and trying to figure out what what the heck it even means to take care of yourself, right?
Yeah.
And the pageant has, like, changed my life, and I
Yeah.
know you're new to it. You just signed up. You talked about Kaylin Lippert, I love you. She's gonna get on this podcast.
She was just on
Um,
mine, so her
was
episode has
she?
to release. Yeah. She is
Oh my
so
gosh, I love her. She was my friend. She was like my little shepherd through the pageant, and then she was like,
she's
"You're
my
gonna like
pageant mom too.
it." So I got all those videos, and I was like, "Pageant mom Taylor."
She's just amazing. She's such a light, and what I think is so cool about her, which is not to negate any of the love and wisdom she's so young. She's in her
Yeah,
early 20s, and she's just so open to learning and other people's perspectives, and
so
she
compassionate.
exactly, she is such a light, and she loves people so hard in the best ways possible, and Kaylin, you better be listening. We're gassing you up, girl. But she's also like for your listener, she's got the cutest little Southern accent. I'm obsessed with it.
Am a
And
girl.
yeah, she's just the sweetest person. And whenever I run into her husband Cody, because I'm a veteran, he's active duty, I'm always like, you better know what you got because she's amazing. I was
She's
like, she's just like one of the best people I've ever met.
she's incredible.
Mhm.
Okay, we're running out of time.
Okay.
I've been drinking out of my Detective Paul Hooves mug, but you need to show us yours because we were
Okay.
talking earlier.
All right, let me preface the story right quick. Okay, so I was stationed in Korea for 2 years, and we would do these Korean exercises with like military operation exercises. Really common, you do them in the States too. And this was just this like amazing effort between coalition partners. So we're working with all these different countries and everything. And we would do this twice a year. And this was my first time, brand new to Korea. We do this exercise. It's a couple weeks long. You're in the thick of it. So you're hot, sweaty, whether you're in staff meetings or not, it's just like it's hot, you're just like, oh man, and you don't look your best. You start shifting to like whatever you need to do to get there, right? And
Mhm.
so all of a sudden, after like a week of doing all of this work, I'm in my glasses. I'm in like, baby hairs going astray bun, but a military bun. And they're like, let's go take a picture all together. And I'm thinking like anything for the partnership, right? We're trying to be good partners. And I don't know what's about to happen with this photo, but we take this picture, right? Y'all, with the quickness, all of a sudden they're like, just wait here a minute. We have something for you. And I was like, okay. Y'all, they made this. Can you see? Can you hold on?
Oh
Oh my
my.
gosh, that highlights my face so beautifully. That's me right there. So my boyfriend at the time was like,
Oh.
"That's not you. That's Pat." And so the Pat has become my alter work ego of I'm
Oh
trying to
my
rotate it.
gosh.
I promise I'm smart. There we go.
We'll get a
My
picture. Oh my
my
gosh, that's you. See, and I
so
would have
pretty.
never known looking at you that you were ever in the military.
Oh, I know it's funny. Like my regular Kim persona is vastly different than that. I promise it got better though.
You
So like again, I've got several of these. See, like I got better. I was more
got
prepared this
better.
time. Yeah.
Oh, man.
But I was like, you've got to be joking. That's emblazoned on a mug for me to keep forever. Is me like sweaty, baby hairs, glasses, working hard. I was working hard, but I'm like, oh gosh. And so yeah, that's Pat. This is what I drink fond memories and drink my hot cocoa and coffee
I
out of.
love it so much. Okay, I'm gonna hold this up. I only have a couple minutes left.
Okay.
I'm not gonna show you the front because we're gonna do
Okay.
your podcast, but my
I'm
face
so
is on
excited.
my face is on this shirt, and I have some extras. So, stay tuned, and you're gonna have to get over to Kim's podcast. Kim, what is your podcast called?
Okay, my podcast is called Highly Favored. It is part of my platform and ministry too with the pageant, but it is an opportunity for us to share stories of resiliency and then in turn build communities together because I think we're all starving for connection. And it's a really great way to remind ourselves of the humanity of others and to feel less alone.
Perfect. How can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram. I think it's at Kim_Chatto. I could be
Yeah,
leading you down a wild goose chase, but
I
I'm
mean,
pretty
we'll
sure
figure
that's
it
it.
out.
And then, yes, my podcast is highly favored. I am like officially on all major podcasting platforms now, so you can find me. We
Oh,
got really funny stories. I think I'm funny. They're really cool
I
stories
know,
too.
I
So
know you are.
come over and see Pat.
Let's do it. Oh, if you're watching on YouTube, that was awful. We're wearing different clothes because we had a kind of abrupt ending to our episode, and I was like, "That wasn't fair. I wanted to talk to Kim more." So here we are. Welcome back. I think
Thank
we're
you for
just
having
maybe
me.
we're maybe gonna just put this in one episode.
Okay.
So we'll just go like boop, boop,
Okay.
because you did not we definitely did not have enough time to chat. And I finally bought my subscription, whatever, so we can chat however long we want, kind of, because
Fancy. Yeah, that sounds like a great time.
I know. I don't even remember what we were talking about. Because then we jumped over and we did your podcast.
Mm-hmm. We sure did. Look, I have the resurrection of Pat, the
Oh
mug.
my gosh. Pat the
It's
Mug.
so That's me. I'm like, I'll zoom in.
You're
That's me.
beautiful.
This is Kim in boss mode. This is me working hard in South Korea for the information environment to let our adversaries against the US know what's up.
Yeah. You get it. Here, look. And then this is what I was showing off on yours.
I-
But if you want to hear about that, you're just going to go have to listen to
yeah, come
its
visit me
highly
at
favored podcast.
ma'am. Come visit my podcast. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, you've been doing some great interviews. It's been kind of fun. I'm trying to remember how long ago it was that we recorded like the first half of
Oh my
our oh
gosh.
wait. No, never mind. It doesn't say.
It
Anyway,
was it was a couple weeks ago.
yeah.
So because
So
I've had 2 weeks where like the entire week is every single day is a different contestant in either the Miss Utah for America Strong or Mrs. Utah America, Mrs. Utah American. And so it's been fun. It has been an absolute blast to kind of just get to know so many of the contestants, and I have more coming up, and I think you do too. So it's just been
Boulder.
like it's been a really great aspect of like the pageant experience because I know for me, well, this is my first time going through it, but I know for me, every time we meet up, it's so nice to be like, it feels like you're cultivating these friendships online. And then when we get together, like, oh my God, here you are, and we get to spend time together. Like we just saw each other, what, Tuesday? No, Monday, right? Monday? Or
Yeah.
is that Tuesday? Yes, for the WOW event
Oh
where
yeah. It
Pageantry was
was Monday.
talking. And
Yes.
I was just like, it's so good to see people in person, but it's also like like this weird alternate reality because we see each other online and in group me and in band and all these different places, and I'm like, oh yeah, in person, here we go.
It's kind of cool because like the way that we show I feel like, anyway, that we show up in all those apps is, like, not any different than we would show up in person.
Oh, for sure. It's so like I can hear everyone's voice as their messages come through. And you can see like their little like isms and like their quirks and the things that they kind of like either their like speech kind of dynamics or I don't know. I totally get what you mean. It's just there's stuff where I'm like, yeah, we absolutely show up in a virtual space just like we would in person and it's so much fun to get to know people that way.
Well, and you're so lucky too, like, I didn't have this podcast last season, it didn't come out until after,
Mhm.
and you're doing your first round of the pageant, and you're able to get to know all these ladies and talk to them and get to know them so much better. Because like, last year, I totally felt like deer in the headlights, and I was intimidated by everybody, but, like, it was like I wasn't really getting to know people, like, I was
Yeah.
just I was there to experience and see what was going on, and I didn't really make a whole lot of friendships until after the season was done.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I could absolutely see that because my the start of my podcast was specifically for and if you haven't seen Highly Favored, come check us out. But the start of Highly Favored, the whole concept was with my platform, which is of the same name for the pageant. And it's these stories of resiliency and, you know, gritty people and how we can learn from one another and help strengthen our communities. And so I was starting with people completely unaffiliated with like pageant life. There were no queens, there were no title holders, nothing like that. Um, but I had a similar experience as I was going through where I'm like, we would have, I think it was our Murray, Utah workshop. And I left there thinking like, I only have so many more weeks realistically for me to get to know these women. And if I miss out on potential friendships, which was a huge like motivating factor for me to do the pageant is because I moved to Utah about a year ago. And in order to like meet people and build myself into this community, I'm like, you got to go make some friends. And if I only had so many weeks left, I'm like, I really need to be intentional about how I'm meeting women where they're at. And you and I were just talking before we started recording about, you know, where people are located and we're being intentional to meet with people, but we are all across the state. And so that's not necessarily conducive to lifestyles and people's schedules. So the podcast was a really nice way to meet people where they're at and to get to know people. And it's so fun too because certain women who were so quick to be like, "Hey, I want to be on your podcast." Um, I was just like, "Oh, yeah, sure." And then I got to know them so much better and all these things about what motivates them. And it's just like this little safe space for us to get to know each other and be vulnerable and share our backgrounds and what, you know, drives us. And it's just a really cool opportunity. And I mean, I know I set it up for myself, but had I not left that Murray, Utah workshop that we had thinking like, "Oh, I need to be more intentional about this." I don't think I would have missed out on opportunities to get to know people by this point in time. And I've
Yeah.
had so many interviews where um and they're so inspiring. Like the women that we're competing with are incredible. And so it's just like it saddens me to think that I could have missed out on an opportunity. And I'm just grateful that I had the wherewithal to be like, hey, jump on this and get to know your friends and the people you're competing with so that after this pageant, because there's only going to be one miss, and then
Mhm.
one Mrs. Utah American, one Mrs. Utah American. And so what, three queens, and then everyone else are incredible women who are title holders. But after this experience, if we haven't built that in and been intentional about, you know, forging those friendships, then you know, we're going to walk away from this experience with having missed an opportunity that could have it's networking, it's building friendships, it's building community. And if that's what I walk away with is better, you know, better and more friendships, like that is a huge blessing. So I'm all about it.
It really helped me see that they're all people just like me,
Mm,
right? Like,
absolutely.
we all have stuff that we go through and, like, whatever chaos is happening in our lives, but, like,
Yes.
we're all people. They're just regular people with families, and their kids are crazy and, like, whatever else. Um
I totally agree. I think Stacy, I don't know if we brought this up in our other episode, but Stacy Proctor, she brought up how it was during like our favorite things Christmas gift exchange. And she brought up how like we were gonna be in these room of women And it's so easy to compare yourself from like the visuals of what you're seeing and how they're, upholding themselves and how they carry themselves and everything. And she was just like, don't do that. Which is sometimes easier said than done, but I think she really brought um a humanness to the experience where she's like she addressed like the elephant in the room, which is ironic because it could have been a white elephant gift exchange. But um
Yeah.
but the elephant in the room is that, like, we were comparing. Like, she knew that it's so hard to not be in these spaces with incredible women and not think like, "Oh, she has this," or on the negative side, like, "I have this more than she does."
Yeah.
And to kind of, like, humble us in a very healthy approach, and to be like, "Hey, how can we connect with these women? How can we meet these women where they're at? How can we just acknowledge that people have their own insecurities?" And like the more that you get to know women who are competing in a very visually public competition and to hear what they're insecure about, it does, it brings that humanness, because sometimes somebody will voice something and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like I become like Sash sister extraordinaire, where I'm like, I will not let you negatively talk about yourself. You are beautiful. You are strong. You are like confident, all these things. But in reality, like we all have our insecurities. And I think one of the cool things about the experience so far is that we can acknowledge that. And I have, like, people have acknowledged that in my life, but they will not let me sit in that space. They refuse to let me sit there and just dwell in like in these things and not realize, because I mean, oh, this is about to be like a TED talk. I
Yeah.
think that like the amount of wasted time and energy that women put forth in sitting in spaces of our insecurities and what we think we are not able to do. Um, when I was separating from the Air Force, I had a moment like that. And my faith is incredibly important to me. And so like in my prayer life, um my relationship with God, one of the things that I kind of received in that was just like, are you good? Like I know that like this one thing isn't meeting your expectations, but look at what you are doing. And the thing is, like, the stack of what I had been doing, the stack of what I'd accomplished was so much higher, and like people were like baffled as to what I was able to get done. But when
Oh,
I
I'm
tell you
so
my
baffled.
mindset was like here, and I'm like, but this is the thing I can't do. This is the thing that I failed at, or this is the thing I can't accomplish. And when people would hear that, they're like, "Are you insane? Like, look at this is what you've done though. Why are you focusing on that?" And it's just like I think that women, in my opinion, just focus on the negative so easily when we are missing out on how incredible and how accomplished they are. And I just saw probably something on social media, like a little quote or phrase that talked about, um, you feel like you're not accomplishing anything, and when in reality, you keep moving and raising the bar up. So you're not seeing all the growth and progress you've made. And that's just how I feel women are. I feel like women are incredible. Like our society downplays it because they're a force to be reckoned with.
For real. If they gave us our full power.
Exactly. It'd be over.
Watch out. For real though, I think, last year, there was, like there were so many amazing people, and I was just baffled. I mean, this year too, and I knew I wasn't gonna win. I just knew it, and I felt like it just felt like that crown was gonna be way too heavy on my head, and I was up on that stage. They had little standy step things, bleachers that we stood on. And I was cheering for every single lady. Me and
Yes.
Keelan, we were standing next to each other, and
I
every
love her.
single lady that had any kind of award or recognition or anything, she and I were both like, "Well, yeah," because it really, like, instead of comparing, we were celebrating how cool all of these amazing women are, and they've been
Absolutely.
through a lot, and it takes a lot of work to get up on that stage in front of all these people and be so, like, so public, but also so vulnerable
Yes.
and so real and so raw,
Mhm.
um, and still carry yourself so well, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think about that all of the time, like the concept of voluntarily choosing to compete in a pageant is to put everything on display. Like at some points, like one of the areas is swimsuit. Like, yes, you are completely out there, and even it's even a modest swimsuit per se, but like everything's out there, and you're the thing that people can are like most reluctant to do, which is like inward reflection and to face critiques on yourself, is literally what we're going out to be like, grade me, judges, on all these things.
Judge
And
me, please.
exactly. Yeah, literally judge me. That's their whole
Yeah.
role as a judge. And, we go from all these different things from our thought processes and interview and how we conduct ourselves and how we're able to engage in conversations to on stage question where on the spot, can you create a cohesive and impactful statement within, 90 seconds or less or whatever like the parameters are and
Right? That makes people
swimsuit.
feel something.
Yes, exactly. It's just like, and make it make sense,
Yeah.
and if it doesn't, and that's not, that is that is just a thing to wrap yourself around because we live in a society where with social media, which I work in that sphere, are so quick to judge, are so quick to be like, "Oh, look at this. I'm not entertained enough by whatever this is." And I saw this one pageant contestant. I don't know what country she was from, but or if she was like a US or title holder or something like that. But she had responded to a question and it's on stage. She'd responded to a question and I think she had reworded the question in her answer and like gave nothing. Like there was nothing, no meat and potatoes to the response or whatever. And, people from the nosebleeds, from like the bleacher seats want to provide feedback and criticism as they're watching this online and in whatever format. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, because we're opening ourselves up to that kind of criticism and that kind of ridicule. But I'm like, but you're not up there. She is. She took a
Right.
step and maybe that wasn't her
Try.
finest hour, but she tried. And that's a lot more than overwhelmingly the rest of society is doing. I'm like, she was brave and she put herself out there. And maybe in that moment, like that was again, that wasn't how she wanted to show up. But like it reminds me of like when people run a 5K or a marathon or a half or something and they're saying like, oh, I'm not hitting these progress markers or I'm not doing this or this, and I'm always saying you are doing far more than anybody critiquing you from the couch. Like you are pushing yourself and challenging yourself, and I think that is far more admirable than the critiques from the nosebleeds. Like you're in the arena, you are pouring in blood, sweat, and tears into this effort, and you're going to grow from it. All that they've done is scrolled through social media and provided a necessary commentary, and they're going back to do whatever.
Right. I was doing a public speaking event,
Hmm.
and somebody was like, they were asking me what I do in situations where people are being critical of me, like where they could be hurting my feelings with social media online, like
Mm,
judging
yeah.
the way I dress or whatever. And I'm like, well,
Mm,
none of it's, I'm not doing any of this for them,
yeah.
right? Like everybody has different opinions and taste and style and stuff. And I'm not going to be for everybody, but I'm for me. And that's who I'm actually doing this for.
I think it is so important to show up as your most authentic self in spaces because you can look back and then be like, I exactly what you said. I was me. I was boldly and confident myself. I was no one else. The responses I provided were something that I stand by. And this is what I represent and this is who I am. These are my virtues, my moral character, all these things. I'm like, I didn't pretend to be someone else. Um and I love that idea of like you're like, I'm not going to be for everyone. I think that is such a like emotionally healthy and intelligent response to that
Mhm.
because we are at our wow event earlier this week, we have to acknowledge that when people judge or when we judge, that's like a defense mechanism that we have built in. But at the same time, like who is that serving? That's like one of my favorite recent phrases is like this comment or this negative thought process, like who profits from it?
Right.
And it's just the idea of like, okay, well, I'm pouring back into somebody's negative judgments or reactions of me or anybody else. Like, do I want to do that? No. And I know that same as you. I'm like, I know that I'm not going to be for everyone, but I used to sit so much again in those spaces and be like, oh, but if I did this differently, then I would just be more palatable for everybody else. And I was looking back at pictures of myself growing up, especially like there was one of those like social media, like add your pictures to like this like chain feed of stuff on Instagram stories. And it's like, this is what I was like when I was 17 or something. And I was grabbing these pictures from high school and it was so extra. And then I went to college and then I commissioned in the Air Force. And then I kind of like dulled my sparkle a little bit so that I could kind of, continue with being an Air Force officer and
Yeah.
perceptions there. And now that I'm not in the Air Force anymore, I was looking back at those 17-year-old Kim pictures and I was just remembering that I'm like, there was nothing wrong with being that extra. There's nothing wrong with showing authentically as yourself, and probably explains a lot why I'm in a pageant in my 30s. So we're kind of resurrecting that. We're having a little Lazarus moment, and it's fine. And 17-year-old Kim was so fun and so smart and vibrant. And not that I'm any of less of those things, but she could have absolutely showed up in those spaces and she was fine. Like if I saw her today, just like in a wow meeting in the pageant or whatever, I'd be like, she's fun. She's awesome. She
Wanna
loves
hang out
people
with her.
genuinely, shows up for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think those are the things where I'm like, for anybody judging in spaces or judging women in pageant or anything, like why do you feel compelled to react that way when that person, when Amanda, like the way that she loves people, the way she shows up for people, the way she goes into a space and brings not just her genuine self, but make sure that everybody feels seen and heard. Like you should be applauding that and less so judging it because like you weren't doing those things. Like, are you contributing to the greater good of society?
Ryan.
Maybe. Like, but I know I am. Yeah. Like
Oh,
I know
yeah.
that I'm potentially meeting in spaces, right?
Yeah.
And showing up to make sure that people feel seen and heard and listened to and yeah, I think society, along with my platform of highly favored, I think we need that more. We need people to be less judgmental and to meet people where they're at to understand like the perspectives that people are bringing into these situations.
So did we really talk much about your platform, actually?
I don't know.
I don't think
I
we
don't remember
did.
what we talked
I don't
about.
think we did at all. Oh, snap.
Well, yeah, no, I'm happy to talk about it though.
Yeah.
A lot of it came from so we're competing in a platform-based pageant system, which is awesome. And so we pick causes that are deeply meaningful to us. And I developed this idea of being highly favored because I'm a military brat. I served in the military once upon a time. When I was married, I was also a military spouse. So just this life and community was so inherently important to me. And I was thinking about the things that came from that experience that really resonated with me. And overwhelmingly, it was this concept of community. No matter where we were at, people understood what we were going through. They were, they were so willing to be like my kid's emergency contact. We have this ongoing joke of like, "Hi, nice to meet you. Can you be my emergency contact?" But people get it. They get that like where you're at and where you're moving to, you are starting completely over again. And it forced you to be in a very open-minded mental space to be like, "I want to make friends. Here's myself. I'm going to be vulnerable." And you learn from every one of these situations, but I just built the most meaningful relationships out of the military. And when I separated from the Air Force, moved to Utah, I was craving those kind of connections. And whether it was in an online space or in person, I just really missed that because I kept seeing people being judgmental, people being harsh. You have online trolls, all of these things. And I just kept thinking like, okay, like what are we missing here? And one of my favorite things about what I learned from those military communities is that people are showing up as their most authentic selves after they have faced extreme adversity, whether that's deployments, family separations, military based injuries, trauma, all of these things. And and that goes from like the day-to-day minuscule stuff to huge like war combat type of things. And they were sharing their stories and they were connecting with people and it was inherently part of this. And I was just like, I think that's what we need. I think we need to feel less alone because that's another thing too. When you separate from the military, it's a huge initiative to make sure that veterans are seen and heard because it is such a huge transition from that kind of space that it is very challenging on one's mental health. And I can attest to that too. I separated from the Air Force last year, and that was one of the hardest years of my life. And so
Well, and
But
you
part
were
of those
active duty, right?
I was, yeah, I was active duty for over 11 years. And I also, to like not make matters worse, but I worked specifically with the special operations community, which is so incredibly tight knit and
Mm,
they look out for each other. And so to go from like the safety of that to like, hey, you're on your own and you're not from Utah and you don't know anyone, but good luck, I was just like, holy cow, this is all different. But I recognize the goodness in people being vulnerable and showing up, and these are gritty people from, like, yes, in your mind when you think of a gritty person, arguably you're like, yeah, military war hero. But I'm also talking about like the single moms,
yeah.
the person who's just like, I'm just getting through my day to day. And as people share their stories, they help other people who have otherwise been quiet or not making those connections realize I'm not alone. Like, there are other people here who are experiencing very similar things or something like what I'm going through right now. And if I can make those connections, I can feel less alone. I can help build my communities and strengthen it. And that is largely what Highly Favored is about, is strengthening and building our communities by recognizing that we're not alone, that we can share all these stories amongst each other and we can help one another in through our vulnerability, through sharing our stories, for showing up for one another. It's just a really community based initiative. And I think we need community today more than ever, honestly.
Really do. Well, and I can imagine going from, like, having things so scheduled and regimented for so long, and then all of a sudden being like, "Now what?"
Yes, absolutely. I didn't drift from that too much because I went from being active duty Air Force to a defense contractor at an Air Force base.
Yeah,
But it's different enough. It's different
yeah,
enough where I've got a year under my belt of experiencing this and I've learned a lot. And it's a lot of figuring out like what works for me, what doesn't, um, figuring out what kind of resources I need, connecting with other veteran communities. That has been like hugely important. And then also like for me, which I've done at every duty station, like finding my place of worship that connects with like my faith basis, building, small groups and Bible studies, volunteering. There's like things that I have done, luckily, throughout my entire military experience that still apply here, even if I'm no longer active duty. And yeah, they're like, it's really, really important. So I've kind of just employed a lot of those types of things. But yes, it was, and it's still hard. Like um, I think there's things where you're just like, I really miss this or I miss that. Um, and I think that'll just take time to kind of get over. I don't have like a perfect answer or solution to that. But
mhm,
I'm incredibly proud to have served. I sometimes miss it a lot. Other times I'm totally okay with not being in anymore.
yeah,
And that is just the complexity of that kind of relationship with my military service, is that there's good and bad and in between, and I am now kind of navigating a new identity with a new chapter, and we'll see how like this year goes. Like everything is just like one foot in front of the other, taking like the next right step or trying to take the next right step and then figuring it out from there.
yeah. You're incredible.
I think you're incredible.
It's hard to be a people, and you're doing so many amazing things, and you really take the initiative to do what you can to improve every space that you go into, so you're so
I
admirable. I love you.
Thank you. I love you. I
It's
am
so
trying my very best.
you have such good energy, like, I think that was the first thing Kaylin was telling me about you, was like, "You're just gonna love her energy, you 2 are gonna get along so great," and I was like, "Okay, okay," and then I saw you and I was like, "Yes, we actually will get along just fine."
It's so funny too, because I feel like when it's because making friends and establishing those relationships as an adult is so different than when you're a kid. Because when you're a kid, everybody's just kind of like on an equal playing field. We're just kids, we're just playing. But when you're adults, you're like, this is my entire life experience. Please accept it as is. And then you're gauging like, oh, what can I share? What can I not? And so it's tough when you've got a girlfriend who's like, hey, you're gonna love this gal. She's great. And you're like, am I? Are you sure? Things like that. And I've been the same way too. Every single space, especially, oh my goodness, especially moving within the special operations community, felt so bad because um I think people normally they're like, "Oh, she's bright and bubbly and very extroverted and smiley and all these things." And I had come out of a space in one of my previous assignments where I was like, "Oh, I don't like people. I don't like peopling so much." And which is not true. I just had a really negative experience. And I moved to my next command in South Korea. And I remember meeting people and I was just like, like my face probably gave that like most of the time because I just wanted to do my job. I didn't wanna connect with people, I just wanted to do that, and then the people at that command, Sakor, go Sakor, I love you guys. They just loved me so well. They were just like, "We're gonna meet this sassy little 5'2" nothing gal right where she's at," and they just showed up, and they really built trust and connections, and I'm still so close with so many of those people from that command, and they're just incredible people, and I love them, and that was inherently a part of, like, the special operations community that has made this transition out of the Air Force that much harder because they just show up. They were just people who showed up consistently. They show up still to this day. They ask how like my kids are doing, how I'm doing. I just got a message from my friend Chris last night. We're just connecting because he's going to grad school too. Like just they're just like the best people, and that relationship dynamic that I had with all of those people that I met there and people showing up when you are not willing to show up for others too, like, they could sense, like it was kind of like I don't know if you've ever you've fostered animals, but, like, I've
Oh,
fostered rescue dogs, and you're just like they've seen some stuff, so they're just like, they're very, like, distant for a bit, they're trying to figure you out, and that was kind of like my approach, is that I've seen some things, I've had people let me down,
you're
so I was
probably
very, like,
agitated.
yeah, yeah, they're like very I was very apprehensive to build connections with people.
Yeah.
And also worried that like if I did, right? If I tried to build a connection with you, would you reject me? Would you not take me seriously? Would you not, be kind? And no, they were. They were amazing. They could see that and they showed up. And it wasn't just them. We have at that command, we have rotational teams. So we had teams from all over the world representing US special operations from, Green Berets, Navy SEALs, Air Force Special Tactics, MARSOC. They would come through and just the most intentional people. They knew they were only going to be there for, I don't know, however many months, weeks, whatever they were there for. Just the kindest folks. Like, truly, it was such a healing assignment, and people can be innately good. There's people who are bad, but there can people who are like innately good and kind and are willing to show up for you and don't have malintent. And that helped fuel a lot of what Highly Favored is about, is that we're understanding that people have gone through some stuff. They've been hurt, and people have been unkind to them, but we can show up kind, willing to be there for people, make meals for one another, and just like simply sit in those spaces with them until you feel better. And I love that.
I think you're amazing.
I think you're
The
saying
more
that.
you talk, the more I'm like, geez, she's so cool and she's nice and she just gets it. Really cool. And it like, especially girls can be kind of mean. And especially when you have these ideas of what people should look like and how people should dress. And you've seen other patterns of behavior maybe where people are like, ew, that's yucky. That
Yeah,
stuff stays with you for a long time.
that does. Because you're just trying to feel included. Like, I think we talked about this last time too, but Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like
Yeah.
we will choose connection over food. Like that is how it is. And so when you're getting feedback like, "Hey, the thing that you like is not socially acceptable for for the connection that you need with me." It does. It stays with you because you're like, "Okay, lesson learned," because I need that connection more than I need food. That you're just like, "Okay, what do I do differently next time? How can I be
Right.
responsive to this way?" Um and it's from those friendships with women, it's friendships with other people, it's dating, like, all of those things is just, like it's hard. It is hard on, like, the human heart to
It's like
navigate some of that stuff.
every interaction you have can have
Yes.
like it can heal you and give you pieces back, or it can take some of those pieces away.
I know. I know.
And I
It's
think
really hard.
my favorite thing about being in this pageant is just seeing how really everybody is like Charlotte. I should try to get her on here. Charlotte, she's in the top 40 under 40 for Utah.
She is. She's in the 40 under 40
Well,
for
and
her
we're
for
like,
business acumen. Yeah.
let's go have some lunch with her and celebrate with her instead of being like, Oh man, she did a cool thing, right? It's
I
just the
think
energy around it is we're gonna celebrate everybody's successes and cheer them on instead of like, "Oh, you're doing a cool thing and I'm not."
I think that I agree with you. I think that like the pageant environment that I've been seeing and experiencing is very like we will applaud for each other until it's our turn. And it's not like a polite little cordial like let me just do a golf clap. It's like we're cheering loudly. And I also think that from my experience, I don't necessarily know if it's like the pageant experience, but from my experience being a female service member, like those are tough wins. Like women are like fighting, throwing elbows to get into those spaces and fight for their seat at the table. And it does us no good to use comparison and jealousy to like negate someone's accomplishments. But I'm like we're going backwards with some of the things. So like we need to keep making forward momentum. And if one of us gets there, we're all getting there a little bit closer than we were before. And I know when Charlotte made that announcement, and I was like deep diving into it, I was so excited because I can't remember what happened the night before, but I was feeling really discouraged by something. And like for those listening, I already have a master's degree, but I'm actually going back to school for my MBA. I'm a defense contractor. I'm in the corporate world after doing all this military stuff. And I think I was just like, well, what are my next steps? What do I want to do? And then in seeing that Shirley got the 40 under 40, I'm like, new goal. And I mean, in my circle, like
Yeah.
there are women who are doing the things and they're challenging each other and they're building up these things. I hope you guys watch this on YouTube because there's like lots of active gesturing going on. Um, but they're doing these things that are incredible. And if anything, she's helping to pave the way so that more of us can come through and more of us can accomplish these things. And it definitely made me realize like, okay, cool. New eye in the prize versus wallowing in whatever I was upset about. I don't even remember anymore. And that's another thing too. I was like, clearly it wasn't big enough to like remember. So I don't know why
Didn't
I
matter
expended
too
that much
much.
energy on it, right?
So
And so yeah, so but she's incredible. And how cool that she's my friend and that like I get to be in her circle and get to cheer her on because if anything, like when I'm at some point, hopefully that maybe Utah business is looking at me. I don't know what I'd be doing then, but Utah business, you're going to be looking at me for at some point before I hit 40 um that like she can mentor me, she can give me advice, she can like she pours into us just like we pour into her, and that's these are these beautiful aspects of the relationships that we're building through this experience.
yeah, it's not like a what can I get from you
Yes.
type thing. It's like we're okay, okay. I'm gonna compare it to this. Do you remember, was it Amy Poehler when they were like announcing best comedy actress and she went up and she stood
Yeah,
on
what's up?
stage and then they all go up and they're all linking arms like,
Yes, and all the every nominee in the category went up and they almost created like a
yes.
mock pageant on stage. It's one of my favorite moments. Yes.
Yes. Well, and that's just definitely like the energy that I have felt from this overall has been that for sure. It's been, oh, it's my favorite. And we just need more people that are cheering for us behind our backs instead of talking crap.
Yes.
Because the
I
people that
think
are talking
yes.
crap, just like Allison from the Allison show was saying, like really that it speaks more about them than it does about you.
Absolutely. And I also think too that bless it, I have had so many life experiences that when I feel like someone is navigating into that kind of territory of like, I'm going to be petty, I'm going to be comparative, I'm going to do this, I can meet them with love because I know that's probably coming from a place of insecurity. And that's not like a oh holier than thou kind of thing. It's just like, hey, I feel like you're hurting and you want someone to validate that like, oh, this isn't as spectacular as it is. And I just very gently am like acknowledging where they're at and how they're feeling. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not going to diminish her light because that's awesome. Like what she's doing is awesome. And we can subjectively or objectively recognize that like that is a good thing and what you're going through is valid, but that is still a good thing. And we're not going to diminish that so that you feel better. Like that's not how this works.
Yeah, that's not how.
And it's and but I agree, like Allison brought up a great thing. It does say more about that person. And if we can meet people where they're at, and it's like again, the theme of like highly favored is that we can recognize that people are hurting, people need connection, people need to be validated in genuine and true relationships with one another. Um, but but yeah, I just think that more women, the you brought up this thing about like, how we talk about about each other behind each other's backs. That was something that I learned very much through my active duty experience. And it is important on one hand to really discern that not everyone is in your corner. And no
Yeah.
matter how bright and sparkly and lovely and life-giving you are to everybody, not everyone is in your corner, and you got to recognize that. And also, like, do not um like brush over when someone isn't showing up for you. That is not your person. It is so important to recognize, like, okay, got for your mental health and your overall well-being, recognize they're not for you. That goes there. But for the people who are in your corner, um you want to highlight people when they're not in the spaces. And I've seen that so much in the pageant experience here, and in a lot of the friendships that I maintain, where, like, we're not going to speak poorly about someone else, we're going to raise her up. This is not the means for it. And how can we do that? Because every single one of us has our insecurities. We're comparing, we're doing this, and it is already difficult enough to be a woman without another woman trying to tear us down. Like, I was like, if anything, like, we're in the same camp, and or we're just trying to like pull each other down back into the muck. No, we're trying to rise each other, like help raise each other up.
Mm.
And that's just been an important lesson that I've learned, is that when you leave a table, you should be sit at tables where people are willing to talk and like pour life into you. Do
Yeah.
not keep sitting at tables that are not for you anymore. And no matter how much that hurts and how difficult that is to navigate, that do not sit at those tables. Like, they are not for you. If anything, like, you're getting in your own way and you're inhibiting opportunities that are meant for you someplace else. Like, don't sit there.
You need
Those
to
are not your friends. Those are not your
you
people.
need to build a new table,
Absolutely.
and the right
Or
people will come.
you can absolutely build a new table. There's probably an existing table of people who are ready to like jazz you up. And so, like, I'm willing to gas her up. And I mean, I think that's like been the pageant experience
Yeah.
of like, this is an existing table. And Caitlin and Abby introduced me to this table, and they like pulled out my seat and let me sit down, kind of thing. And I love that, right? And so sometimes you just have to find those spaces, but like keep looking for those spaces. Don't sit where you're at. I forgot, sure, it was like on TikTok or something, but somebody was talking about how like they were planning some kind of event, and they were so excited about, the attention to detail that they poured into this entire thing. And the people who they were friends with at the time were like mocking something. Those are not your friends. Those are not your friends. Like, the following year, I don't know if it was the same event or something like similar, but she was talking about it. And her new group of friends were so excited about like the programs and the attention to detail she put into this or that or whatever. And I'm like, and that's your circle. Like, you know what right feels like. If they're not pouring into you, if they are not cheering so freaking loudly, those are not your people. And I've had to learn that the hard way. So I'm saying this with love to whoever's listening. If your circle is not cheering for you loudly, or you are concerned that your circle is talking behind your back or trying to bring you down or gossiping about you, those are not your people.
Yeah.
Nay, get them
And
away from you.
your people are so important. Like, we keep talking about community, and that is in friendships too. It's not just like community within our local communities. It's like the people you surround yourself with.
Yes, yes. I
Oh
believe.
man, I think you're amazing. I have to go get
I
my kid from school. So
Well,
we're gonna
thank you for talking with me.
end this anytime. I'm so glad that I could like do a third one, kinda.
I
Just kidding,
know, we're
it's
just
only
having
one
so fun.
episode. It's
We're
only
having a
one
great time.
only one episode. Okay, I'm gonna let you end it. I want you to tell us where we can find you on Instagram and all that stuff, because we're gonna cut that old one out.
Okay, alrighty. Well, everyone, thank you, Amanda, for having me on today. This is amazing. I loved it. It's always just an absolute joy to talk to you. You are such a light. For those who are listening, if you want to follow my pageant journey or learn more about my platform, it is called Highly Favored. You can find me on Instagram under Kim_Chatto. That's CHATTO. And then my podcast on Instagram is called Highly Favored_official. And you can listen to my podcast on all major streaming services, because I have learned how to make sure they're on all streaming services. But you can definitely find it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Give it a listen. We feature all sorts of people. If you want to learn more about all the contestants, the title holders who are competing, they're incredible. Come check out. Amanda's featuring them. I'm featuring them. Different perspectives on those. So we'd love to have you over on Highly Favored. And if you're interesting, like if you're just doing life and you want to be on the podcast, reach out. I'd love to have you. We're gonna have a good time.
I love it. Thank you so much, Kim. I think you're incredible. That was us again, kind of on the inner workings of the not so genius mind. Take care of yourselves. I hear it's a crazy world out there.